Hey guys, and welcome to another video with Lykkelilje. This is part 2 of my art trade that I have been doing together with my friend Lise, also known as Jacqueline. And in last week's video I did my part of this challenge where I made a drawing and then Lise had to remake it in her own style and using her own methods. And it turned out really well, and if you wanted to check it out, I'm gonna leave a link in the end of this video. And Lisa, of course, has social medias as well. She has both a Facebook, Instagram and a Tumblr. And just like last week, I'm gonna leave a link for all of it in the description below. So if you want to go and check her out afterwards, you will be able to do that. We didn't have a theme for this challenge, but decided on doing a portrait with one character and no background just to make it simple, because we were doing the drawings during kind of a important school project, so we were both quite busy at the same time as we did the drawings. We're using very different methods when it comes to how we actually do the drawings, because I am, as you may have guessed, using primarily Photoshop, and even the sketch for this drawing was done in Photoshop, whereas Lisa, she is using watercolors and doing all her drawings in hand and on paper and like the old-fashioned way. I am, as I mentioned, doing all the sketching for the drawing in Photoshop, and I have been doing that for like most of my drawings the past year or so, and it's still quite new to me and sometimes a bit hard, but I am still learning, and it's getting easier and easier to actually just do it in Photoshop, and then you don't have to take a photo or scan it or completely redo it on the computer, and it's quite easy. I've been drawing digitally for I think about 8 years or so, because that's when I think I got my first graphic tablet, but I'm not quite sure, it's a few years ago now. I didn't really use it that much in the beginning because I thought it was really hard to use the tablet, and I thought that my art got really bad. And that's why when people ask me if they should invest in a tablet or which tablet they should invest in, I tell them that they should not buy the biggest or the most expensive one, because the case might be that they don't like doing the art digitally, or that they don't want to put in as many hours as it takes to actually learn to use a tablet. And if you are good at traditional art and you suddenly have to do digital, it's quite a change. So yeah. Well, enough about that, and let's talk a bit about the drawing as well. I think it was really fun to make this drawing and to redo a drawing that my friend had made, and especially the hair was really fun to make. And I was kinda nervous to do this drawing because I thought that her version was really adorable, and I just wanted to do it a lot of justice, and I wanted it to be as pretty as her, and I'm quite happy with the result actually. The line art process was, I think, one of the most time consuming parts of the drawing beside from coloring the hair, but I just wanted the hair and the line art for the hair to be perfect, because there wasn't really a lot of other things to the drawing beside from the hair. And I think the hardest part of this drawing had to be doing her facial structure and the hair so that it still looked like Lisa's version, but at the same time had a sense of my style to it. So that was kind of hard, but also a really nice challenge, because the first sketch I made looked a lot more like her version, but I didn't want to make like just a copy. I wanted to make my version of her drawing, so that's kind of what I ended up with, and I'm happy with the result. When I reached the end of the drawing and I was actually almost done, I had a hard time figuring out what was wrong with her face, and I didn't like her face, and I put the drawing aside for a few days, and then I came back and I played with it in Photoshop and I used the liquify tool, and I actually kind of liked the end result better than my first result. And some people may say that it's cheating using the liquify tool, and to some extent I may agree, but then again, if you don't use the tools that you're handed to make your art better, I just find it silly that you don't use the things that you have. If you have an eraser and you don't use it, that's just silly. This is kind of the same thing, maybe not entirely, but I ended up having a drawing that I was more happy with. And well, yes, here is our drawings side by side, and remember to go and check Lise out. Her links is in the description below, and I'll see you next week. Bye bye!